other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Today's show is sponsored by Dr. Jacalyn. Take charge of your life personally, financially, and professionally. Visit drjacalyn.com to book an appointment today.
Good afternoon and welcome to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn live on Business Talk Radio and social media. This is the business show. I am your host and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. I am a certified life and career coach. And with me, as always, on Wednesdays is Mr. Cini. He is our co-host and he is the managing partner of Brand and Cultural Alignment Toolkit. Hello, how are you?
Well, hello, Dr. Jacalyn. This is the best place any human can be on a Wednesday afternoon.
We have a fabulous guest today. I've interviewed her before, and she does something really unique. So I'm excited to bring her out in a few minutes. But I love that we're repping the hats today.
This is the Dr. Jacalyn swag. I think that's very important. And you haven't opened the gift shop yet, but when you do, all the Dr. Jacalyn stuff will be in it. And I'm sure those are, the show is definitely growing in popularity, and I think an awful lot of people identify with it. Congratulations, Doc. I think you're doing a great job building an audience. Well,
thank you. I appreciate it. In fact, we got notification today from Business Talk Radio that we're actually being put on some other platforms. So stay tuned for those details. And we also have a fabulous show coming up this afternoon, which I hope people will tune in for, A Better You. And you will be joining me for that as a presenter.
I'm looking forward to that too. And, I'm really looking forward to talking with Alisha because I'll tell you a story from when I was a graduate student in psychology. A graduate assistant and I ran a study, and we watched people walking along the street side by side, and we noticed that when they weren't talking to each other, their feet fell at random. But when you found 2 or 3 people that were talking to each other while they were walking, their feet hit the ground at the same time. They synced up their feet with each other while they were communicating. And it didn't matter how tall or short they were. They adjusted their stride so that they hit the ground at the same time when they were talking. And I've a couple of times I've watched, living in New York, people walking along the sidewalk, and I've seen it over and over again. The reason why that's interesting to me is because Alisha is going to be talking about the rhythm, and she has an intervention based on some of these techniques, the rhythm of building a team that collaborates well. And, Dr. Jacalyn, team building is kind of a hobby of mine. So
yes, it is.
Should be a great conversation.
Should be good collaboration. So I'm excited for that. And she also does a lot of work in terms of team building and bringing people so that, to your point for BCAT, everybody is rowing in the same direction.
Yeah, it's great. Great work and valuable work. And I'm really excited to hear how she does it.
Well, let's bring her out. Let's welcome to the program, Alisha Ramcharitar. How are you?
Hello, Dr. Jacalyn and Al. It's nice to see you. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you for being with us. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Excellent. And you're coming to us today from Florida, correct?
Yes, I live in the Jacksonville area.
Very nice. That's a great area. A lot of activities and things to do in that area.
Yes, well, not so much right now with the pandemic. But normally that is why we moved to this area several years ago, was for all of the beautiful outdoor nature that we can do as well. So being in Florida, it's nice that we don't have snow and we can go outside most times of the year. So we can still enjoy the outdoors during this crazy time.
Great.
Yes, it makes it a lot easier when you can go outside.
Hmm.
So Alisha, tell us about your company, Just Add Rhythm. Tell us how you came up with this concept and exactly what it is that you do there.
It's a bit of a long story. The short version is that I am a musician, and I started out being a vocalist in high school, and I went to Berklee College of Music in Boston to continue my vocal training. And while I was there, I discovered African drumming. And I took a trip with a student group and a college professor to Ghana in West Africa way back in 2004. And I decided to continue studying West African drum and dance because I loved the community aspect of it. I loved that everybody could participate in the music making at the same time, rather than feel like what we're used to here, which is going to a concert and watching a bunch of professionals and to clap and appreciate what you yourself can't do. And I wanted to take that feeling and bring it back to the community that I live and work in, so that I could introduce the many benefits of rhythm and music and movement with the people that were close to me here. So I continued studying West African drum and dance. I actually performed in several different performing arts groups in Boston and Pittsburgh and Miami over the years. And I started learning the art and the discipline of drum circle facilitation, so that I could bring these life-affirming programs to different populations of people, from corporate boardrooms to children in educational settings.
That is really fascinating. I heard your background before, and I thought it's so unique what you've experienced and how you parlayed your experiences into what you're doing now to help others.
What is interesting about it to me anyway is that there is an awful lot of research about the power of music in healing and in developing a positive outlook. And this is the first time I've heard of anybody applying it to team dynamics, though, Alisha. And how does it work with the team?
It's very interesting. Drumming is, I think, one of the best ways to connect with people let's say in a corporate boardroom setting, because it's very accessible. Nobody really needs to be told what to do when they're playing a drum. You put a drum in front of people and they're instinctively going to start tapping on it, going to start exploring the sounds on it. Their curiosity is going to be piqued a little bit. And they may have a little bit of anxiety, especially if we're talking about adults, in a corporate boardroom. They might have some anxiety about their musical and rhythmic abilities. And, we try to set people up for success in the first few minutes of our programs and get them used to the idea of making sounds on the drum before we dive into creating rhythms and making them keep a beat. But the process that we take people through, this little 5-step process we take them through, is designed to get people thinking, take them from an individual mindset to a group mindset. So a lot of the things that we focus on are emotional intelligence and EQ, compassion and understanding. We focus on a lot of collaborative activities and improving communication among individuals and among different groups of people in the larger group. And there's a lot of metaphors to be made in the way of diversity and inclusion for that reason as well, particularly if we're talking about programs that we did pre-pandemic, when we were able to actually bring physical drums into the client's space, and offer a variety of different instruments that people were playing in the drum circle itself. It opens up a lot of opportunities to create those metaphors for the workplace in terms of communication, in terms of understanding the value that each person or instrument or group of instruments brings to the table, and what unique perspective they have that can contribute to the overall success of the group's sound.
Great. And it's fun.
It's a lot of fun.
It's a fun thing to do. So, I can see how that can make a big difference in the usual, typical, kind of boring blame and shame corporate meeting. I mean, this is something anybody can participate in, whether they've been in the company for 30 years or they just started yesterday, and everybody can drum. I mean, that's maybe not proficiently, but everybody knows how to keep a beat. And I think that is such a cool idea.
Absolutely. And I like your story that you told at the beginning about when you were a student, you were kind of evaluating what you noticed about people's footfalls when they were walking with each other. Because that's sort of the central message that I try to share with people, is that everybody has a rhythm. The beat of our hearts is the rhythm that we all have in common with each other. And we have these different rhythms coursing through our bodies. That's just science and nature. And so when we are able to draw that out in a way that it's in a safe and supportive environment for people, we bring out that natural rhythm and allow people to contribute something meaningful to the group's perspective, then we have something that ends up being really magical, even though it's a bunch of people that may have never touched a drum or played a musical instrument in their lives. It's something that's created in that moment and will never exist again after that moment. And it can be really empowering for the group of people that experience it.
Very cool.
So it's really like that shared experience that creates that bond and that unity that you have with the other people who are doing it with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, if you've drummed together, you're more likely to probably make friends or at least become a supportive colleague of that person. You've shared that experience, and that's going to translate into a deeper relationship, a professional or a personal relationship outside of that drum circle experience.
I can definitely see that. And I also would think, having never really drummed that I can remember, I know snare drum with the little, I don't know what those things are, those metal things, but I would think that you have a certain amount of vulnerability, because if you don't have a lot of experience drumming, and then your transparency with others, that really does help create that bond that lasts.
Yeah, it does. Like I said, some people have a lot of trepidation about being able to drum because they think that it's a performance of sorts or a class or something that they have to perfect. They may have had a negative musical experience as a child and told like, well, you're not good at this, so don't do it anymore. I talk to a lot of musicians and professional drummers who have had some sort of experience like that as a child or in their youth that decided to ignore that teacher and keep on, honing their craft because it was something they loved and they felt a connection to. So, people have that trepidation at first, and maybe the reason that it's so successful is because they're able to share a little bit of that nervousness at the beginning with each other, laugh at their ability or lack of ability in the beginning, and then build each other's confidence slowly throughout the program.
Great. And you could do it by Zoom.
And you can do it by Zoom. Yep. Since the pandemic, we've had to do a lot of things with Zoom or with online platforms. And so we've pivoted a little bit like other businesses and started offering more programs online. And instead, obviously, we can't bring the drums to the client in that circumstance. So a lot of what we do is with found sounds, which are items that you can easily find around your home or the office that you can use as a drum or a percussion instrument. Like pens and pencils and desks, tables in front of you. And if you're at home, particularly if we're working with children's programs, we'll invite them to go into the kitchen and find something that they can bang on, like pots and pans or boxes of rice or pasta. And it becomes a little bit of a fun treasure hunt for the kids. But we can do it from home and from the office. Body percussion is another way that we can utilize rhythm without having drums. So those things like clapping hands, snapping fingers, stomping your feet. And it's pretty cool what rhythms can emerge when people are just using body percussion.
Good.
I'm really excited, Al, because when we come back from the break, Alisha is going to do a little demonstration for us.
I have a feeling we might actually get involved in that. So, that's this break is too long. I can't wait till it's over. We can get started.
Stay with us here on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, live on Business Talk Radio and social media. And by the way, we'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions for Alisha, please feel free to call in. The number to call is area code 631-730-5468. And we are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitch. We'd love to have comments from you. So we'll be right back after this break. Stay with us.
Hey everybody, my name is Ralph Graves Jr. I'm the host of the Ralph Graves Jr. Show, and I want to invite you to pick up my book, Unstoppable. I wrote a book called Unstoppable. It's 7 universal laws that will transform how you pursue and achieve success. The one thing that my 20 years of law enforcement has taught me is that no matter who you are, we are all governed by universal laws, like gravity. But in this book, we're going to talk about laws like the law of forgiveness, laws like the law of control, the law of intelligent practice, the law of expectancy. I was able to see how those, no matter what their background was, those who identified and treated these laws with respect, they were able to go on and lead successful lives. So pick up this book, and you can go ahead and pick it up at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, RalphGravesJr.com, where anywhere where fine books are sold. Thank you.
There are 7.7 billion people on Earth today. 40% of these people are under the age of 25. Young adults are the most fertile mission field in the world today. In Scripture, we see Jesus pouring his life into 12 young adults who he equipped to change the world and all of history. Like Jesus, we believe that the best approach to reach the world with the gospel is to invest in young, emerging leaders and equip them to build disciple-making movements. Concentric is the notion of surrounding and sharing a common center. Our center is the model and strategy of Jesus for both leadership development and ministry formation. As a global alliance, we provide equipping in biblical leadership based on Jesus' example in the New Testament. Jesus modeled for us how to make disciples that reproduce. Focusing on leadership development is key to creating movements that spread the gospel and Jesus' disciple-making strategy to young leaders around the globe. Our Ministry Alliance partners are actively equipping leaders and building movements of multiplication that reproduce the life of Christ. Join us today to equip young leaders with Jesus' strategy that will change cities and nations.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAT partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAT partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
Academy Sedan and Limo is a full-service transportation company serving the Philadelphia metropolitan area with full knowledge of the New York City, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C. areas. We pride ourselves on being the most dependable, conscientious company in the industry. Our always on-time service and dependable pricing make us the company to call for any event or occasion. Our vehicles can accommodate any size party for any occasion. Our vehicles range from four-door sedans to SUVs to minivans to limo buses to full-size tour buses and can accommodate groups of 2 to 100. We offer airport shuttle service or over-the-road service without limitation regarding mileage or time, and no drive is too long or too far. So if you find yourself in need of transportation of any type with any vehicle, give us a call at 610-842-4564 and let us show you what a real transportation company can do for you.
Use code ACADEMY2020 to receive 20% off your first 3 rides, including parking and tolls.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Hi, welcome back. Here we are, Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, live on Business Talk Radio and social media. I'm here with Mr. Al Cini. Hello, Al.
Hello, Dr. Jacalyn. I'm putting on my drumming hat.
And our special guest, Alisha Ramcharitar. And you are going to lead us in a demo, is that correct?
Yes, we'll do 2 different short activities to show people how they can use rhythm in their own homes or at the office to help reduce stress and manage their stress and anxiety. Because, we have a lot of that going on, especially right now. So we'll give people a little taste and some tools to hopefully walk away with.
All right, we're going to solo you. Take it away.
Okay, so I have a little frame drum here that I brought with me, and it has a nice deep bass sound. High sound here. The first exercise we're going to do just involves breathing. It's a square breathing exercise, and you may have even heard of square breathing before, but I'm going to help keep the beat on my drum to ensure that we keep a slow, steady pace, and we're breathing in and out at the same speed. So what I'm going to invite you to do, Al, because I know you'll be participating along, is we're going to breathe in for a count of 4 beats. And then at the top of that breath, we're going to hold for 4. And then we're going to breathe out for 4 beats. And the bottom of the breath, we're going to hold for 4. Square breathing because it's 4, 4, 4, 4. And I'm just going to keep the beat on my drum here. So as you're taking a deep breath in, anybody who's participating along with us, I invite you to make sure that you're kind of opening your diaphragm up, which means you're going to be sticking your belly out a little bit. And then when you breathe out and get rid of all of that oxygen, you're going to push your belly button towards your spine. So some of us, especially when feeling anxious, might breathe from the chest up and down like this, but this time we're going to be breathing from our stomach or our diaphragm. All right, so I'll get a slow, steady beat going on here. And for the first couple rounds, Al, you can just breathe on your own, just start to become aware of your breathing, and then I'll give you a signal when we're going to start with the 4, 4, 4, 4 count.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to get ready to start with that breath in just a second here. And breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4. Breathe out and hold. Breathe in and hold and out and hold. We'll do a couple more rounds. Breathe in and hold. Breathe out and hold. One more round. In and hold and out and hold and stop.
Wow. I've done breathing exercises before. They're tremendously powerful ways to manage emotional reactions to things. But the drum adds a kind of a drama to the whole experience. It just makes, and the rhythm, I think the cadence of it, I think counting along with that beat just makes the process more enjoyable. Great exercise.
I would agree. I feel like I was transported somewhere else.
Yeah, it was
really cool.
Very effective. And it's simple. That's the cool thing about it is it's simple. It's just, it's not a typical experience. That's what makes it so effective, I think. I like it.
Great. Well, there's one more I want to introduce that just takes a couple minutes here. And this is one that I shared with Dr. Jacalyn last month when we spoke, and she sure enjoyed it. So I hope that you will as well. We'll just do like a 2-minute cycle of it. But if you have more time on your own, you can always expand this exercise to 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever feels good for you. This is a rhythmic breathing exercise that I learned from a mentor of mine. His name is Jim Donovan. And he used to be a drummer and percussionist in the band Rusted Root back in the 90s when they were really, really popular. And now he has his own company and brand that works to introduce people to the benefits of using sound for their personal health and wellness. And what I love about Jim's activities is they're all evidence-based. They're all based in science. And they're all very simple. Anybody can participate and do them and get those benefits from wherever they are in the world and whatever tools they have handy. So one of his trainings that I went to in Pennsylvania many years ago, I learned this exercise, and I'd like to include it in most of our team building sessions. We do this with kids and we do this with adults of all ages because it's a really good way to relax your body and to clear your mind. So if you have a lot of clutter going on up in your mind, there's a lot of thoughts going on, particularly before bedtime. You may be feeling anxious about what's going on in the world. This is the way to kind of quiet that chatter and help you get to sleep at night. So rhythmic breathing, it just involves taking your hands and we're going to pat them on our laps in the speed of a ticking clock or stopwatch. So if you think of that show 60 Minutes where it goes tick, 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 that's the speed. And we're just going to lightly tap our laps. You're probably not going to be able to hear me doing it, but I'm doing it on my lap. Tick, 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 tick. And as you start lightly tapping your lap, just become aware of your breath. And we're not doing anything special with it yet, but we're just start thinking about lengthening that breath because you might be starting out from a place of shallow breathing if you're feeling stressed or anxious. So what we're going to do as we continue is we're going to breathe in for a count of 4 and out for a count of 4. And we're going to see if we can align the tapping on our laps with the speed of the breath, the in and the out. So here we go. We're going to breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 3, 4, and in, and out, and in, and out, and in, and out. Let's see if we can expand that breath. We're going to breathe in for a count of 6 and out for a count of 6. So remember, you're trying to breathe from your stomach or your diaphragm. You're going to expand that out like a balloon, and then when you breathe out, you're going to push your belly button towards your spine. So we're counting to 6 now. Here we go. Breathe in. 3, 4, 5, 6, and out. 3, 4, 5, 6, and in. 5, 6, and out. 5, 6. 2 more times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out. 5, 6, and in. Last time. 5, 6, and out. 5, 6. And when you're done, just let your hands come to a rest on your lap and just sit there for a moment in silence. Doesn't make for good radio, but just notice how you feel in silence for a few seconds. And then you can let me know how you feel when you're ready.
Yeah. Dr. Jacalyn, did you do it?
Yes, I did it. And I was thinking to myself, what a great exercise for coaches to use with their clients. You know, before you start a session, for people to get in tune with their breathing. So I found it to be a great exercise, a great tool, going from the 4 count to the 6 count, and then you can continue working your way up. And I felt stress leaving my body.
It's kind of hard to describe it in a way, because you feel relaxed and energized at the same time.
Yes.
So, you know, so on the one hand, you feel like you're not worried so much about what's going on in the world anymore. The world kind of disappears, but your ability to cope seems to improve. You feel like you feel more positive. It's another simple exercise that makes a big difference, Alisha.
That's really great. That's good insight. I too feel very relaxed and energized at the same time somehow when I do this exercise. For some people, it may be more of one than the other. Some people may feel very energized, or they may feel very relaxed. So I invite people, if they feel really relaxed, that a good time to do this exercise is before bed, to clear the mind and help you drift off to sleep. If you feel energized, that you might try doing it in the morning when you wake up. If you've got sort of that energetic, relaxed buzz going on at the same time, then it might just be good for you to do throughout the day if you encounter something that feels stressful, before you go do an interview, before you have to give a presentation, before you're doing something that makes you feel those butterflies in your stomach. That might be a good time to do it as well, to ground yourself, to create more mindfulness, being present in the moment and not feeling your thoughts just float away, like taking you to the land of what if, pulling you back to the present and focusing on what's right here in front of you right now, to help you do the best that you can with what the task is right now.
Great.
Yeah, that's great. We need to go to a break, but what I'd really like to do is, when we come back from the break, I'd like to ask you to do the drum exercise again and engage our audience. And for audience members out there who want to try this short exercise, and then you can put something in the comments or even call in so we know how it's affecting you.
Great idea.
All right, stay with us. So Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Networking sucks and people suck at it, but nothing gives me more life than walking around and talking to people in an audience and really being able to identify, okay, I see where you're having trouble, let's work on fixing it. How do you help them? How do you provide value? My goal is to give them those tools to be able to go out and tackle that fear. Anywhere there's coffee is where I'll be. So I bring candy a lot to my speaking engagements. Like, of course that makes sense. I'm a little unconventional.
Ashley was very knowledgeable.
Very entertaining.
I learned a few new things, and to me that's the key.
What do you want them to say? How do you want to be perceived? You're going to get the most direct, tactical tips and practical takeaways when it comes to networking. These two here are super important. You will remember once the conversation starts.
I love the tips that she gave out. I hate networking with a passion, so I feel like I can go to a meeting or event and not feel so uncomfortable.
When you're going to a presentation, you want to be educated. You also want to be entertained.
She was really fun and really personable, and everything she was saying was just very relatable.
She's got a lot of great ideas.
That will make you stand out so fast.
She comes across as someone that likes what they do and just doesn't try to sell you something.
Activity breeds results. If you're not doing anything, you're not going anywhere.
Just made me want to start networking, which I never thought I'd say before.
A networking strategy that works for you.
Have you just lost your job or have been laid off and you are looking to transition to a new job or career? Maybe you have even tried submitting tons of applications and yet you keep getting turned down for jobs you qualify for. Don't wait until you become overwhelmed with rejections when you can easily transition or get your dream job. Let MJW Careers guide you to the right career path and a better, brighter future. At MJW Careers, we know what hiring managers are looking for, and our goal is to land you the job you deserve. What makes MJW Careers a wonderful provider over other services is our pragmatic and scientific approach to resume writing. There are rules, there are visual cues, there are content best practices. We understand those and work within the boundaries to ensure our clients' messaging appeals to the decision makers. Our career consultants will help you transition into new roles quickly and effectively. With our experience in virtually every industry, we will provide direction in the frustrating job market by helping you write a customized, professional resume and prepare you for your interview as well. Join the great number of people we have helped scale up to greater things in their careers. Let us help you on your career journey. Come visit us, www.jobstickers.com, to learn more and grab a free resume review or ebook.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Today's show is sponsored by Dr. Jacalyn. Take charge of your life personally, financially, and professionally. Visit drjacalyn.com to book an appointment today.
Welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, the business talk show live on Business Talk Radio and social media. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Cini, and our guest, Alisha Ramcharitar. And Alisha's going to lead us through another demonstration. So everybody out there listening, watching, let's all participate in this. There's so much stress going on in the world, and today especially. Let's focus on relaxing and energizing at the same time. Alisha?
Okay, so do you want to do the square breathing exercise that we showed Al in the beginning?
Yes, that'd be great.
Okay, great. Yeah. So this can be done with or without a drum accompaniment. It's Al had mentioned earlier it was good for him to have that accompaniment, a little bit of an extra grounding device. So I will play along on my frame drum, and I invite all of our listeners or people that are viewing to breathe along with us. The idea of the square breathing technique is to breathe in for a count of 4, hold at the top of that breath for a count of 4, breathe out for a count of 4, and then hold once more at the bottom of that breath for a count of 4. We'll do several cycles of it. And if you want to, you can close your eyes if you're somewhere where you feel comfortable and safe doing that. but you're welcome to keep your eyes open if you prefer as well. So I will start playing the beat on my drum, and as I had told Al earlier, just listen to the beat for a few cycles, and then I'll invite everyone to come in and start counting after the first few cycles of that rhythm. So here we go. Here we go. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4, out, and hold. Breathe in, hold, out, and hold. In, hold, out, hold. See if you can continue that on your own without my speaking over it. Listen for the bass. Let's do one more cycle together. In, hold, out, hold, and stop.
Wow.
How do you feel, Al?
Well, it's powerful. I don't know how else to explain it. It's amazingly simple, incredibly powerful. If I were in a room with a bunch of people, I would know them differently after we all did that. And to me, anyway, that's kind of the essence of team building. What we have to do is forget what we thought we knew about each other and learn a new way to see each other. And these exercises are great ways to do that, Alisha. I would never have thought of that.
Yes, it's not necessarily forgetting, but yes, learning a new way of seeing each other, with starting with seeing somebody from the perspective of, we all have this thing in common. We all have this ability for our hearts to beat and for us to breathe and for us to breathe together as a group. And like Jacalyn was talking earlier about that shared experience, that is the most powerful thing. If we're able to do this in a room full of people, and even on a Zoom call full of people, I'll tell you, we utilize the gallery view, and you can see all of the participants on your Zoom screen doing the same thing that you're doing in that moment. It can be very powerful, and you will feel more connected to those people in that experience, whether it was for work or for, recreation and fun. You're going to have that lasting connection and relationship with the people that you did those exercises with.
It's interesting, too, because people can synchronize with rhythm even if they're 12 time zones apart. So for an international team, it's a great way to pull everybody together across a continent.
Yeah, that's right. That's a really good way to bring everybody into the same room, even if they're participating from the middle of the night or early in the morning.
Al, I just wanted to mention, it's kind of interesting, the way that Alisha and I met was through Lunch Club, and you're actually the one who invited me to Lunch Club.
The Lunch Club experience is an amazing experience, and I don't know how they do it, but they connect people. They connect people very effectively on interests you wouldn't expect, and I'm really glad it played out this way, because it's so much fun meeting Alisha.
Yeah, I've definitely met some interesting people on Lunch Club, and I'm really glad that whatever their artificial intelligence was decided to connect Dr. Jacalyn and myself, and that was a really fun connection to get to know her.
Thank you.
Lunchclub.com, lunchclub.com for people that are wondering about it, and it's free to join. So it's quite.
And by the way, none of us are paid sponsors, so
no, we're not. I mean, this is all we're just
enjoy it.
Happy participants.
Yeah.
Alisha, I have a question for you. I know that I'm wondering about your clients. I'm guessing they're people that you teach this to, or people that you do this for. Maybe you can profile them for us a little bit.
Sure. We work with 3 different types of clients. The first being educational. So that includes pre-K through 12th, as well as colleges and universities. And in that type of setting, it could be a school setting or an after-school setting. We also work with a lot of summer camps and libraries throughout the summer and throughout the year recreationally. So that's one group of people that enjoys our programs. And for those programs, we focus a lot on building social skills, as well as learning what teamwork is like, what is good communication, and teaching things like kindness and compassion using the fun of rhythm. The second group of people that we work with is corporate. So that could be a corporate boardroom. It might be a conference or an event bringing a lot of different types of people together. There are a lot of different types of environments that we can drum in when we're talking about corporate. But like we've been talking about, it's a lot of focus on team building and emotional intelligence, but also improving communication, learning to work together more efficiently, and focusing on that kindness and compassion component as well. So a lot of those elements in different populations are there in the in each session. We just kind of do it a little bit differently. The third type of organization we work with are nonprofit and funded organizations. Basically any community organization that gets funding for something, and that also includes, we do a lot of work with seniors living in retirement facilities, or living at home but looking for social experiences that are going to be meaningful for them. So particularly during this time of COVID, we're focusing on trying to reach some of those senior clients that we maybe haven't gotten a drum with in a while because they have to be at home or stay in the facility that they're living in. So it's really helping combat their social isolation during this time, and giving them those meaningful experiences with people of their the same time in their life.
That's great. So, Dr. Jacalyn, I know you're running Alisha's contact information on the scroll at the bottom of the screen. I'm thinking the people who really ought to reach out and contact Alisha are school administrators, like principals, I guess, or maybe superintendents of school districts who are looking for a program like this, for a professional development plan they might have. Or it's funny that you mentioned not-for-profits, because not-for-profits are a very neglected part, I think, of the ecosphere. But not-for-profits have, even in some cases, larger team-building challenges than the for-profit companies do. And often they neglect these exercises. They can make a big difference.
Yeah, that's true. And that's right. Those guesses are correct in the types of people that we would love to talk with. Another sector that we're working with right now, a little bit more than we were before, is the healthcare sector, because we understand that healthcare workers are under an even more and increasing enormously amount of strain, of emotional, physical, and mental strain right now, especially the frontline workers that are helping to battle COVID and get that under control for us. So what I'm looking to do with some healthcare organizations is to develop some short pilot programs with healthcare workers, so that we can first start honing the virtual programs that we're offering, as well as with local organizations if we're allowed to be doing in-person socially distanced programs. We want to be able to get these tools out to the people that need them the most right now. And that includes the healthcare workers, as well as patients and families that are going through really tough times. It's not going to heal everything in your life. It's going to give you a tool to help you manage your stress, manage your anxiety, and help you figure out how you can take control of those things that you can control and make the most of what you can do, even though it feels like a lot of stuff may be out of your grasp right now.
Right.
Alisha, that's terrific. For those who are listening on the radio, would you please give your contact information? We'll have you give it to again at the end.
Sure. Our website is on the banner, but if you're listening, I'll give you a website link that's even easier to remember. It's www.addrhythm.com, ADDRHYTHM as in Mary.com. That's our website, and we have a web contact form up there as well. If you want to find us online, we are Just Add Rhythm, like Just Add Water, but with the word rhythm. Just Add Rhythm. You can find us on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, and we have a YouTube channel. So if you're curious about what these programs look like in person pre-pandemic, we've got a lot of video clips up there of our past clients, including kids programs, corporate programs, nonprofits, seniors. We have a vlog as well up there. So if you want to kind of look through the playlist of vlog posts and learn how you can use rhythm in your personal everyday life, we've got some videos up there on YouTube as well.
That's excellent. We need to take a break. And before we do, I'm wondering, Al, if you would just tee up. I'm going to play the BCAT and Dr. J commercial. If you could just tee up for our audience what it is we'll be watching, listening to.
Well, we're talking about, it's there are a couple of ways to build a team, and I think Alicia's exercises are terrific techniques for that. And we have another angle on it. I think that the real purpose of a team is what ultimately motivates the members of a team to perform better. And a lot of people think leadership is about getting people to do what you want, but real leadership is about getting people to do what's right. And that's what we do with the Brennan Cultural Alignment Toolkit. And it's great to be partnering with you, Dr. Jacalyn. So let's roll.
Let's roll it.
Have you ever tried to build people into a team? Maybe you've tried bowling, or ziplining, or paintball, or pizza making. These events can be fun, and they can make everybody happy for a while. But in the long run, do they really turn people into a team? Now, imagine the members of your team scattered all over the world, working from trains and airplanes, from remote offices, client locations, or working from home. How do you build a winning team when your playing field might be the entire world? With BCAT, we've created the answer. Working completely online, no matter where your people are, we turn them into an engaged and motivated team in 3 simple steps. First, we use the BCAT survey, which they can take online, anywhere, anytime, to reveal the North Star that represents their shared pride in the work they do. Next, we work with your team's leaders and stakeholders to convert that North Star into a role target, an ideal virtual person who represents your team's best self, living its best day at work. With our internet tools, we hang your North Star high in the sky, where everyone on your team can see it, no matter where in the world they might be. Then we guide and help everyone on your team in creating personal plans to align themselves with your team's North Star. We help each of them develop the positive habits that, day by day, every day, steer them closer to your North Star, aligning themselves with your team's signature dreams and ideals. And over the long haul, we offer programs and coaching techniques that help them stick to their plans. Remote team building isn't hard, it doesn't take long, and it's just as much fun as pizzas and paintball. You build winning teams around a purpose, not a place. BCAT is the answer.
Every day, it was the same old story. I worked hard to make sure no one noticed what I was dealing with, but my stomach never cared where I was. And the pain just kept coming. After too many close calls and even weight loss, I had to do something. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation helped me realize what was going on and even helped me find a specialist. Don't hide your symptoms. Get help at spillyourguts.org.
Stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Hello, hello. We're back on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, the business talk show. I am your host, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. With me, as always, is Mr. Cini, my co-host, and our special guest, Alisha Ramcharitar. And she is the founder of Just Add Rhythm, and she is a chief drumming architect. I love that. Chief drumming architect.
You know, as a guy who taps his toes and taps his fingers, and has frequently been yelled at for that, I feel validated all of a sudden. So this has really been very helpful for me. But Alisha, maybe you can tell us how you became a chief drumming architect.
Sure. So I mentioned a little bit earlier, my background was as a vocalist originally. I had studied classical vocals and sang in a lot of different types of choirs throughout high school. I attended Berklee College of Music up in Boston years ago, back in 2001. My second day of school was actually September 11th, 2001, up in Boston. So that was an interesting way to start my college time. And so I studied vocals, and then I decided on a whim to take an African drum class while I was there, because I thought it might improve my ability to keep a beat and give me a little bit more feeling into my singing. I was getting a lot in my head with technique and not feeling so much emotion. The more I studied and the more nervous I got when I was learning all these techniques. So I took an African drum class. It was focusing on music from a specific type of people called the Ewe people in Ghana. And my instructor's name was Joe Galiota. And he was very passionate about this type of drumming, and it was pretty infectious. He got all of his students involved in just getting really interested in the people of Ghana, the culture, and what the music meant to them. So I took a trip to Ghana with this professor and with a group of students in 2004, and I learned about a field called ethnomusicology, and I decided to continue studying West African drum and dance. So that field is kind of like anthropology, but you're studying world music cultures. So you're studying a people and their traditions through their music. And I wanted to focus on West African drum and dance because there was a thriving community in Boston at the time. I was going to dance classes and drum classes probably 5 nights a week up in Boston while I was a graduate student, and just soaking in as much as I could with the community up there, both of instructors who were American who had studied someplace in Africa, as well as African instructors themselves who had come over here to live and to work and to share their culture. And so during that time, I thought to myself, how can I make this into a career? Because I love it, and I know other people will love it, and I feel the benefits from it. I know there's other benefits. So I found out about the field of drum circle facilitation, and I ended up doing some trainings in different types of facilitation styles. One of those is called Health Rhythms by the Remo Percussion Company, which is the largest percussion company in the world. And they actually, some 20 or so years ago, they did a lot of their own clinical research on the benefits of rhythm in different populations of people, including, I think, nursing students, senior populations, corporate employees, and a lot of other different populations as well. So I did a training with that. I learned about some of the research backing up what I already knew about rhythm. And I learned how to facilitate a rhythm experience that would translate into different populations that I already mentioned, from kids through senior citizens. Learned how to facilitate that experience so that it was meaningful and effective and met specific objectives of the client. And so I've just, kept kind of training with learning different disciplines. I'm part of a professional organization called the Drum Circle Facilitators Guild. They have a conference every year, and I've spoken at that conference before. And it's a wonderful community of people worldwide who believe, as much as I do, about the power of music and rhythm to connect people and to help them achieve their personal and professional goals and live a more joyful and meaningful life with each other. So that's a little bit about my journey and why I love to do what I do so much.
It's great. And as proficient a musician as I'm sure you are, the techniques that you're teaching don't require an instrument, don't require a musical background, Anybody with a beating heart can participate because all it takes is an innate sense of rhythm. And it is such an interesting way to communicate, not just with other people, but also with yourself. Getting in tune with yourself and how you feel is one of the outcomes that you get when you do these exercises. I think it's great.
Yeah, that's absolutely
I think
true.
it all
A lot
starts
of times I need to take my own advice and do those exercises more for myself because I feel myself getting into my head. And those types of exercises that I use, that when I incorporate rhythm, they're very grounding for me and they take me back to the present moment. Right. Sorry, go ahead, Dr. Jacalyn.
No, I just was going to say I spend a lot of time meditating, but I'm going to incorporate this in with what I'm doing for self-care, self-love. I think that, you know, the beat, the tapping here on the desk, it adds another layer of depth. And I think it's really, it's really unique.
Yeah, it can be a great supplement to meditating to kind of add that into your practice.
Mm-hmm.
So, Alisha, what's next for you and Just Add Rhythm?
We're working on, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, trying to see if we can partner with several healthcare organizations to offer some of these pilot programs that would allow us to collect a little bit of data on the efficacy of our virtual programs. So using the Zoom platform or something similar to that, we want to be able to work with targeted populations and get some good data on how beneficial it is and what types of exercises will work best to be delivered virtually, to give people those tools, like we mentioned, to allow them to take charge of managing their stress and their anxiety, and to give them a safe and open environment to be able to share concerns that they have. So if we're talking about healthcare workers, that might be just giving them a platform to share the enormous amount of stress that they're going through and to be able to talk with other people that are going through the same thing. So a couple months ago, we actually led a self-care program for the Baptist healthcare system that's down here in Jacksonville. Their chaplains were doing a self-care retreat. And one of the activities they wanted to include in their self-care retreat was the drumming. And it gave people a chance to just acknowledge each other, acknowledge the great work they're doing, acknowledge that they're in a really tough position, and a lot of people don't necessarily think it's as bad as it is, even though they have seen it. And that was actually an in-person program, and it was very validating for them, and it gave them a way to reduce some of their own stress. So we'd love to work with more organizations so that we can continue to hone these virtual programs in addition to our in-person programs. So if anyone listening out there works for a healthcare organization or works with an organization that offers support groups for patients and their families as well, those are two groups that we would really love to be able to work with, and we feel that we have a program that can really support you in the work that you're doing for each other.
Well, good luck with that. You're really changing the world one drum at a time, one drum beat at a time.
One drum beat at a time. It's great.
Yeah, it is great. We do have a comment, which I'm just going to put up so we can answer this. Somebody on YouTube wants to know, is this live? Yes, we are live. So
yes, we are. Thanks for asking.
So we're just about at the top of the hour for our show. Alisha, would you give out your contact information again for those listening on the radio?
Sure. You can go to our website at www.addrhythm.com, ADDRHYTHM.com. You can find us at Just Add Rhythm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. We're on LinkedIn as well. If you find us on YouTube, you can just go to the YouTube search for Just Add Rhythm. We've got a whole channel there of video clips from our past different clients and programs. And we have a playlist specifically for vlog posts that focus on personal health and wellness. So rhythm that you can do from the comfort of your own home as well. So check those out and definitely reach out to us if there's any way that we can help add rhythm to your life or to your organization.
Fantastic. It's been a pleasure having you on the program, Alisha. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy that I got to share this with you.
Thank you, Alisha. So much fun.
So if you'll wait for us backstage, Al and I will be there shortly. We'd love to just thank you again. Okay. So, Mr. Cini, this was another wonderful interview. As we close out the business show for today, I just wanted for you and I to just kind of tee up for our audience this new platform that we've come up with, A Better You.
And, I think the coaching community, if you do a search on LinkedIn, we talked about this, there are 6 million people on LinkedIn that identify as coaches at some level or of some kind. When you add to that the business consultants and the trusted advisors, there's an awful lot of expertise out there and an awful lot of people who've walked the talk and know and have a lot to offer. And what I think I'm excited about, Dr. Jacalyn, is you're going to be gathering them on a regular basis to offer their wisdom to your audience. And I think there's a lot to be gained for everybody in that proposition. I think it's great that you're doing that.
Well, thank you. Of course, I couldn't do it without your support. So, and then one thing I just want to mention, the difference in that platform, A Better You, is that people are actually presenting. Each presenter will get 15 minutes to present on something that they think will resonate with our audience. And that's really about helping people set an intention, helping people focus, using your expertise and your leadership to help guide others. And then you get to be part of a panel. So typically we'll have 6 people on the shows. The shows are Wednesday from 4 to 5:30 Eastern time, and Thursdays from 11 to 12:30 Eastern time. So there's 6 of us, we're a panel, and then each person, except for me, does a presentation for 15 minutes, and then the rest of us discuss it. So not only do you get access to people that are on the panel whom you might not have met otherwise, but you also get to promote your brands, your service, your product, your book, whatever it is that you have as a leader, as a coach, a trusted advisor, consultant. And so if you're interested, please go to drjacalyn.com and you can sign up there to be a guest. Mr. Cini, anything else?
No, I've got an hour to figure out what I'm going to say on your first installment of A Better You that comes up at 4:00 today. I'm hoping everybody will come back and join us.
I hope so too. So with that being said, thank you for being here today. We'll see you at 4:00 right here. Thanks, bye for now.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.